This is A to Z with Mark Zinno, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, and it starts now.
Good afternoon. Welcome to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, where today I ask you, let's figure out what the real problem is. Welcome in. We are live here on this Monday. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend, back in the saddle here in a beautiful week in Atlanta. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On ATL. Of course, you can follow me at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. We'll get into the home run derby tonight for Ronald Acuna and the rest of the members there. Look at some betting angles for that if you're interested in that sort of thing. And if you're not, you'll enjoy what I have to say about the home run derby otherwise. Why? Because that's part of this show. I do want to start today with an interesting topic that I feel like it's a fair question to ask when diagnosing the problems with the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, let's look at objectively where we are. And by the way, this segment is brought to you by our good friends at Sports Card Investor. Let's look at where the Hawks are at this point in the offseason, right? We are at a point where, we thought that John Collins would be traded already. This team would have a new look, a fresh look, and they would be going forward, hopefully on their way to improving their standing in the Eastern Conference. None of that has happened. In fact, they traded away Kevin Huerter. I mean, granted, they get Dejounte Murray back, but they've traded away, a bunch of other guys, and they've never really made any significant impact on their team other than adding a good defensive guard in Dejounte Murray. And that's fine. I think that's a step. Obviously, it's not everything. But that said, when you're trying to figure out where this team is going to go and how they can get to the top of the Eastern Conference, I think you have to acknowledge here that not everything is as easy as it's made out to be. And what I mean is, it's not just go get another star and pair him with Trae and boom, you're going to be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference and you got a great shot to win a title. No, it's not that simple because, one, getting another star is very, very difficult. 2, you have to wonder at this point what Trae is. And I don't say this as a pejorative. I try to look at this objectively, okay? And Trae is a star in this league. And what you really have to ask yourself, for as much as you're contemplating whether John Collins could be a number 2 in a big 3 or whatever it may be, you really have to ask that question about Trae. Is Trae really a true number 1 that you build around? Or is Trae the secondary piece to another star? I think that question is fair to ask. I think it's a question that you have to dive in. It's got a lot of different angles to it. Because in reality, when you look at it, you have to figure out if Trae is the answer and not part of the problem. So far in a 3-year span, I've seen the star here in Atlanta not get along with his head coach. And now there are questions about how much he gets along with John Collins, if he does at all. Now, I'm not saying you got to be friends with everybody. I'm not saying you have to like everybody. Look, Kevin Durant and Draymond Green didn't like each other. But guess what? That's a top 10 player in NBA history in Kevin Durant and most likely a Hall of Famer in Draymond Green. That's not the case for Trae Young. He's not a top 10 player in NBA history, and he's not on his way to the Hall of Fame yet. So when you have that level of talent of stars who don't like each other, it's different. And until Trae gets over the top, until Trae can lead a team to the promised land, I'm not so sure he gets to call the shots that he's called so far, right? Because it's different when you win it all. And I'll explain how in just a moment. First, for a word from our friends at Sports Card Investors. Whether you're a casual card collector or looking for the exciting alternative investment opportunities, the Sports Card Investor app has something for you. The breakout stars, the prospects debuting just at the MLB draft last night. You can check out the value of all those players and find great deals on their first cards, or you can go the nostalgia route. Older players, go back in time, see how much your favorite cards are worth today. If you're interested in getting into sports cards, you can find great deals on your favorite players, some of the biggest players in the game. This is a great way to get in love with the sport that you do love and find a way to have an extra investment off of it. Download the Sports Card Investor app today, available for free in Google Play and Apple Play stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/locked on. So let's continue here with Trae Young. Again, he didn't get along with his last head coach in Lloyd Pierce, and now there's questions about how he gets along with his number 2 star in John Collins. And so when I look at a star who hasn't won it all, it's a different perspective, right? Like Patrick Mahomes gets to call shots. Tom Brady gets to call shots. I mean, these are guys that have won titles and have been to the top of the mountain and have done it multiple times. Josh Allen doesn't necessarily get to go to the Buffalo Bills and say, yeah, I don't really like Stephon Diggs. I'd like somebody else. That's not how this works. You have to get to the top of the mountain. It's like that old scene in Bull Durham. If you remember the baseball movie Bull Durham, the character Nuke, LaLoosh, and Kevin Costner, Crash Davis, who's the wily old veteran in the minors, and Nuke is this young hot star, and he's got fungus on his shower shoes. And Kevin Costner's character, Crash Davis, looks and says, you got fungus on your shower shoes. When you win 20 in the show, you can have fungus on your shower shoes and the press will think you're colorful. Until then, get clean shower shoes. And he's 100% right. Once you win a title, you can do whatever you want. You get to say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You are at the top of the mountain. Nobody can debate it. Nobody can ever take it away from you. That's why it's so precious. It's not the case for Trae Young. And this isn't a slight on his talent or his ability to lead a team, because I think we've seen a little bit of it in the playoff run 2 years ago when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. There's a sense that maybe Trae can elevate and lead, but there's also a sense that, hey, man, this is my team, and you do what I say, and I don't care about playing defense, and I'm not going to play. You better play defense, but I'm not doing it. There's that a little bit do as I say, not as I do around Trae that feels like he doesn't have to play defense. He doesn't have to be better on defense. We're willing to accept that Trae is going to be lazy on the defensive end of the court. Nah, that don't fly with me personally. Defense is all about effort. I've talked to hundreds of coaches, particularly in college, when I was calling college basketball games for years. And they all tell you one thing: defense is about effort. It's all about how bad do you want it. I don't doubt that Trae wants a title real bad. I do doubt if he's willing to do everything necessary to get it, because playing defense is part of that. And you can't escape that. So I think it's a fair question to ask about Trae. I don't think it's unfair to ask, really, is Trae 100% the solution to what you're looking for a title? Because right now, objectively, the Hawks have not gotten better than Miami. They've not gotten better than Boston. And they have not gotten better than Milwaukee. And I'm not even including Kevin Durant and the possibility of him and Kyrie being back in Brooklyn this year. So at the very, very absolute best, if you're the 4th seed in the East, is that good enough for you to get out of the East? And the answer is no, because you're not better than any of those 3 teams I just told you about a moment ago. Still a steep hill to climb for the Atlanta Hawks. All right, coming up next, Home Run Derby tonight. Where should you put your money if you'd like to wager it? But it'll be fun to watch, and I'll explain why each guy could do well. That's coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. You search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Give me a follow on Twitter at Mark Zinno. Of course, follow our entire network at Locked On ATL. Don't forget to check out all of the great shows that we have here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Our Braves postcast after every Braves home game. Of course, Braves postcast get a little bit of a break here during the All-Star break, but it'll be back once the second half resumes. You get ATL Day Ones with Jarvis Davis and Tanisha Batiste, hitting hard with John Chuckery. And don't forget about Locked On Falcons and Locked On Hawks, all right here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta network. And appreciate your guys' love and support. We're over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube already. We keep growing really fast. It's just been a lot of fun doing this since we started back in the beginning of May. And it was just an incredible venture, an incredible opportunity. I'm so glad that you guys have chosen to make Locked On Sports Atlanta part of your everyday sports listening. So again, thank you. Humble thank you. Okay. We're going to get the All-Star break and the Home Run Derby tonight. By the way, this segment brought to you by our friends at Built Bar. We'll get to that in just a moment. But with the Home Run Derby tonight, you get Ronald Acuna in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, here's like kind of my complete breakdown on the Home Run Derby, okay? I am betting that, let me rephrase that, I'm not betting. I feel like Pete Alonso is going to win his 3rd consecutive. Pete Alonso wants to win this thing more than you could imagine, which is really weird. And here's something even weirder. In the last 2 years, Pete Alonso winning the home run derby, he's made more money off the home run derby than he has in his entire career being paid by the New York Mets. That is kind of crazy to think, right? I think he had $1 million for winning the home run derby. He's a guy on a rookie deal. He's still in his arbitration years. I mean, I don't think he's reached his arbitration years yet. So he's getting like $450,000 a year from the Mets, and that's it. And he's made more money in 2 home run derbies, which is crazy. So I think he really wants to win this thing, and I think that he is probably going to be able to do it again. However, if he doesn't do it again, it's because he loses in the first round to some guy named Ronald Acuna Jr. That's my guess. The only way to beat Pete Alonso is to not let him get out of the first round, because what it takes more than anything to win the home run derby is stamina. You see how tired these guys get? They're toweling off. They got to chug Gatorades. I mean, it is exhausting. And the stamina thing is a big portion of it. And Pete Alonso has it better than everybody else out there. That said, if there was one guy I think that could beat him in this derby, other than maybe Juan Soto, it's Ronald Acuna Jr., because Acuna's got a very effortless swing. Acuna's got a ton of swag, which I think is important because it's all eyes on you, right? Like, it's okay for Acuna to just pimp and style and everything else after every long ball he hits, because guess what? You can. Now, this thing's timed, so you can't really pimp and style too much. But if there was a guy who could get into a flow and a rhythm, I think Acuna's the one guy who would do it. And if Alonso has any bit of struggles early on, Acuna's the guy who could take care of him and go out and knock him off as 2-time defending champion. And for the Braves fans here, I know we're all hoping that the home run derby sort of sets Acuna straight, right? He's been struggling, obviously. Remember, these are completely non-connected events. But the thing about this that is different for Acuna is there's no pressure. He doesn't have to get on base. He doesn't have to worry about the guys behind him. Doesn't have to help his team win games. He's getting fed straight batting practice fastballs that he can just launch. And that's what he does really well. So I think all those things play into Acuna having a good chance to beat Pete Alonso in the first round and knock him out. If Alonso gets out of the first round, I don't think there's anybody that's going to stop him from winning his 3rd consecutive home run derby, aka the 3-Pete, which, works out really well since his first name is Pete. You know what else works out really well? Built Bars. They're from the people who invented healthy and tasty and wonderful, just Built Bar, energy, flow, all of it. I mean, like, guys, I have these in my house. They are great. I love them. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given you a coconut brownie chunk puffs treatment. Remember the puffs I used to tell you about? It's like this proteiny marshmallow. It is fantastic. Coconut brownie chunk Built Bar is the flavor you love in a delicious, chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. Now listen, they're good for you. They're low calorie, low sugar, high in protein, all delicious, and they're here for a limited time. Go to Built.com right now to make sure you don't miss out. They're going fast because they taste amazing. All Built Bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. And the best part about Puffs is, of course, they taste amazing. You can enjoy them guilt-free because they're actually good for you. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your order. All right, back to the All-Star break and home run derby. What else is out there that I like? If it's not Pete Alonso who's going to win it, my money would go to Corey Seager. Why? For a couple of reasons. 22 home runs before the break, and he's going back home. You guys may forget that Corey Seager used to play in LA for the Dodgers for a long time. Familiar ballpark, familiar surroundings, hometown crowd. I think that there is a lot of reasons to like Corey Seager to go out and win this thing, especially at the value that he's getting. He's almost 10-1 to win this. And so from that standpoint, to put down $1 and win 10 back, it's not a bad roll of the dice for a guy who is going to be at home in front of the hometown crowd and be a little bit juiced up at his former home. There's one other matchup that I really like in the first round. Now, if you're not paying attention to the odds, Pete Alonso is the favorite. The second favorite is Kyle Schwarber. Okay. Kyle Schwarber is also the heaviest favorite to get out of the first round against his first round opponent. Why? Because he's up against the biggest long shot to win the whole thing in Albert Pujols. Just to give you an idea, Pete Alonso versus Ronald Acuna Jr., Pete Alonso is nearly a 1-2 favorite. He's that heavy of a favorite to beat Ronald Acuna Jr. in the first round. Well, it's even heavier for that for the big guy, Kyle Schwarber. He's minus 350, which, again, you're going to pay $3.50 to get $1 back. So he's that much of a favor over Albert Pujols, who is nearly a 3-1 underdog. For $1, you get 3 if you wager on Pujols. I like Pujols in the first round. Here's why. Again, going back to Southern California, played in LA for the Angels, so there will be some sort of hometown flavor for him. I know he's old, but the one thing he does really, really well is still hit the ball out of the ballpark and hit the ball a really long way. That said, I talked about the stamina effect of this. Pujols has only got one good round in him. And if it's coming in the first round because the old man going to get tired after that. Between the adrenaline, the hometown, a stadium he's quasi-familiar with from being in the NL for all those years, and being crosstown in LA with the hometown crowd, gives me enough reason to think that he could upset Kyle Schwarber in the first round of this thing. So I like the fact that I'm getting 3-1 back. I think it makes great, sense from a value standpoint, a value proposition, but that's kind of the way I handicap the home run derby. I also think Juan Soto could probably win it. What better to do than turn down $440 million and win $1 million in the home run derby? Knock yourself out. That's one way to go about doing it. Sure, certainly that works. All right, coming up next, it was a Sunday for the ages, a historical Sunday at the Open. We'll break that down coming up next right here on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Final segment coming. Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta, free on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Search Locked On Sports Atlanta. You see, I can say it. I actually can. It's the name of the show, name of the network. I got it. We're good. Welcome back in. Final segment of the show. Want to get to the Open yesterday because it was kind of impressive, to say the least, about how good Cam Smith was down the stretch. Historical type stuff. It's worth just pausing a moment. I know a lot of golf fans, might not be everybody's thing to watch golf on TV, but yesterday was pretty awesome. Before we get to that, though, let's get to a shovel of wisdom.
Brace yourselves, because it's time for the shovel of wisdom.
Yeah, that's right. You know how we do it. We love to whack people upside the head with a shovel, a metaphorical one, if you will, to set them straight after doing or saying something stupid. And today, my shovel goes to the Houston Texans. Now, if you had heard me at all last week on Sports Radio 99, the game I was going on with Mike Bowe, and this statement came out on Friday. It was after I did this show, so I wasn't able to give this shovel, but it bears repeating and it bears just giving it again, because if you haven't heard it, I want you to hear it. So the Houston Texans on Friday reached settlements with 30 women who made claims or were prepared to make them against the team for its alleged role regarding the sexual misconduct allegations against Deshaun Watson. The Houston Texans decided to settle with 30 of those women. Okay. And then they released a statement. Quote, and this is the part where the shovel comes in, by the way. Quote, we were shocked and deeply saddened when we first learned of the allegations against our then franchise quarterback in March of 2021. Although our organization did not have any knowledge of Deshaun Watson's alleged misconduct, we've intentionally chosen to resolve this matter amicably. This is not an admission of any wrongdoing, but instead a clear stand against any form of sexual assault and misconduct. I don't even need to finish the rest of the quote. Stop right there. Let me get this straight. Your clear stand against sexual assault and misconduct is to pay off alleged victims. Really? That's your stand? That's how you get out of this? I'm disgusted by the Houston Texans for this statement. I can't believe there's actually a live person who read that statement and went, yep, this looks good. This is perfect. We'll put this out. Everybody will think it's wonderful. You got to be kidding me. What a complete abject failure that statement is on so many levels. If you read it another way, I'd love to hear how you read it. When I read that you have chosen to resolve this matter amicably, again, fine, it's not an admission of any wrongdoing, okay? I'm not saying you did or didn't do anything wrong, but that's not a stand against sexual assault and misconduct. Paying people off is not a stand against anything. It's a way to keep them quiet. It's a way to make them go away. And along with paying them off, they've all signed non-disclosure agreements. They can't utter a single bad word about the Houston Texans organization ever. Great. Nothing like covering your backside amidst sexual assault and misconduct allegations so you can't be held accountable. I mean, come on. And I don't know how the NFL doesn't punish the Texans. How do they let the Texans off the hook? Whatever the punishment may be, it may be as low as a $100,000 fine. Fine, whatever. $500,000. It's nothing. It's like $50 to you and me. Yeah, take the 15 and go. It's nothing. So, but I don't know how you don't hold the Texans accountable. Because from where I sit, the whole thing is just really, really ugly. It's classless. And it's tasteless by the Houston Texans. Speaking of taste, something that tastes good is Coffee AM. Why? Because they are the best small batch coffee roaster in America. They do it right here in Georgia. Fresh coffee that you can get because most of the coffees are roasted and shipped the same day or close to it. Coffee never tasted so good. Coffee AM, an Atlanta-based small batch coffee roaster that gets you coffee from around the world. Organic, fair trade, direct trade, expertly crafted blends, espressos of flavored coffees, gourmet teas, and more. I've had I've had a coffee from Kenya. I've had one from Sumatra, a rainforest version of one. Dear Lord, the flavors are outstanding. It's part of my morning regimen right now with Coffee AM. Pop it right in the Keurig. 30 seconds later, I got some of the best coffee from around the world. Go to coffeeam.com/locked-on today to take a look at their full menu of coffees, teas, and gift sets. That's coffeeam.com/locked-on. Use the coupon code LOCKED-ON to get 15% off at checkout of your first order of coffee, teas, and gift sets. Coffee AM, best small batch coffee roaster in America. All right, enough of the dumbness of the Houston Texans. On to the Open yesterday, where we witnessed one of the most amazing, and I mean amazing, Sundays ever. Now, I'm a huge Rory fan. He's not up there with Brooks Koepka for me, or with Jordan Spieth, but I'm a huge Rory fan. I would have loved to have seen him win another major. And I was pulling for him the whole way and thought he was actually going to do it. But he ran up against a guy who was 4 strokes back, by the way, fired an 8 under, 64, best round of the day, and his second, and tied for his best round of the tournament because he shot 64 in round 2. He shot 73 in round 3. Imagine if he had just shot 70. He was 1 over. He just had a normal day. Gone 2 under, he would have ran away with this thing. It wouldn't even been a sweat. That wouldn't have given it the allure and the history that this thing really does, because Cam Smith made 5 consecutive birdies to start the back 9 and 6 birdies overall on the back 9. He shoots a 30 on the back 9 on a Sunday for a major championship. All you can do is tip your cap. McIlroy said it best. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't necessarily do everything right, but I didn't do anything wrong. He missed a couple of putts. He understands it. He shot 2 under for the day. He shot 70. It was his lowest round, or his highest round, rather, of the tournament. And it came on a Sunday. He didn't play bad enough to lose, just didn't play good enough to win. And when a guy shoots a 30 on the back 9 on a Sunday of a major, I don't know what you do other than take that for the guy, honestly. I watched that whole round develop, and it was unreal. And give all the credit in the world to Cam Smith. As I said, after 73, after falling out of first place after 2 rounds, after 54 holes, he was 4 strokes back. And oh, by the way, 33 of the last 35 Open winners were within 3 strokes when the final round teed off. That was not Cam Smith. So he sort of bucked that trend. It's now 33 of the last 36. Because he was 4 strokes off the lead when Sunday started. So it was amazing. I know if you're not a golf fan, you're probably bored by this conversation, but it was amazing to watch. It was a ton of fun. There was a ton of excitement. And maybe now that things are getting to normal back on the course, we can stop arguing about live golf. I'm really tired of that argument, too. Very pro live golf right here. But yesterday was awesome and a lot of fun. And oh, by the way, 2 live golfers finished in the top 15. So figure that what you will. All right, that'll do it for us here on this Monday. Back tomorrow. Make sure you guys watch the Home Run Derby tonight. Get ready for the All-Star game tomorrow right here on A to Z. You guys have a great day. Don't take a crap, anybody. Yeah.